Yo, good morning, gamers. What's up? It's Friday. It is 1 week after the league launched. Let's talk a little bit about my thoughts on it anyway. This whole video is just obviously going to be my subjective experience and my thoughts on it. It is 100% okay if you disagree. And if you're not having fun, I'm just going to be talking about what I've been enjoying and not liking. And just what's actually been going on. If you couldn't tell, I just woke up. This is my second cup of coffee, which is just when we're getting going. And I want to give you my thoughts as they've kind of digested a little bit after a week and just what I'm feeling about the game in general. So first up, we'll hit with the big one, Arch Nemesis modifiers, the dramatic change to all rare and magic monsters, how GGG responded to that, and how it is right now. On release, it was overtuned. I don't think there's a single person who's saying that that was the correct balance. It was definitely like, certain combinations that were moderately common that could hard shut down a lot of different builds, or just, swarms of monsters that you couldn't get away from, or anything like that, right? That was too much. That was obviously too much, but I liked the direction. So, if we saw the original video where I was talking about the game being harder and more interesting to interact with, as we said, there's a little bit of controversy there. And then I followed up with some more nuance in the second video that was much better received because, I had to clarify. I said, I like the idea and the direction, and I had fun on Friday. And then everyone's like, oh, you like the game? You like Path of Exile? Downvote, downvote. And then I was like, yeah, I like Path of Exile, but there's always more nuance to the discussion, right? So anyway, Arch Nemesis was obviously overtuned, but I liked the direction. I like the idea of the monsters having a little bit more meaning. I think the magic monsters, especially right now, are really, really interesting. Before this patch, magic monsters, you literally ignored it, right? And now there's a little bit of something going on there. Like they might have Toxic, or they might have Arcane Buffer. Or in the case for my Bane build, if they have Chaos Weaver, it might take a couple seconds even to kill a blue pack. And I think that's okay. So it was super overtuned, right? We were seeing 5, I think it could go up to 6 mod rares. Like we could get 6 mod rares with certain combinations that many builds couldn't even kill whatsoever. And GGG responded very, very quickly, and I'm with you guys on the argument there that I would love to figure out a way that we could get some more testing. Do a temp league that copies your standard characters over that you can play for like 2 to 4 days, within a standard league environment, just against those, that type of monster or something. So the players can test it and say, hey, these certain combinations, the shutting off Righteous Fire, turning off certain builds, can we get that tweaked? Something like that, just a little bit of a open test for certain mechanics would be really cool, but that would be a lot of work from GGG. Would be nice though. So yeah, they responded very, very quickly. Like on Saturday, they cut the difficulty way, way down. In the morning, they just like cut their life in half basically. And then later on in that day, they cut back on the number of modifiers that you could get on the rares. And I think there was an additional patch on Sunday that tuned it down a little bit more on top of that. After the Sunday patch, like once in a while, I would run into a rare that has something like for my Bane build, right? If I run into Chaos Weaver plus Gargantuan plus Arcane Buffer, especially with the Chaos Weaver, which I think gives the monster like 40 Chaos Res. If I already have plus 40 Chaos Res on the map modifier, those rares can take a while to kill, but it's pretty rare. Besides running into a couple rares once in a while that take, maybe 5 seconds to kill. If my build can take down those rares in just a few seconds, I think we should be okay. There's definitely been some Essence monsters that I've had to run away from. And I guess for me, I don't mind that, right? I don't have to be able to kill every single monster in every single map. And most of the time, they're still like puppy dogs, right? I think they've tuned it down where it's kind of interesting. And then, oftentimes, especially with the Sentinel, which we'll talk about in a second, if I juice that up, and if I had a really hard monster and I juiced that up, I don't know. I think that's on me, right? So by and large, at least I haven't with my, minus the Amulet, just a few Exalt build, I haven't run into anything that has really thrown me for a loop there. So I think it's good for us to think critically here, and minus the very specific modifiers that might be shutting off your specific build, I like the direction, right? I like the direction of monsters being a little bit more interesting to interact with, instead of just a full YOLO, I blow everything up and I'm never thinking about it. That's at least my thoughts on that. I'm happy with it. For me, I don't need any further changes. I think it's tuned pretty well. Definitely let me know if there's certain combinations that are still a problem for you. Now, what kind of goes along with that? It's the old Headhunter, huh? Headhunter right now, I just looked it up, is about 35 to 40 exalts. This is just from the perspective of someone who's been playing the game for 7 years. I'll show the clip of a Cyclone Slayer from Legion League. Headhunter has been, it is the chase unique. It is the platonic definition of like end game juicing playstyle in Path of Exile. It has been roughly since about Legion League. And since then, we've done everything from self-cursed temp chains, and we've had int stackers, and we got the KB Deadeyes and all that stuff now. That's really defined the game for a number of years now. With Headhunter being what it was, and they will be, we'll talk about the potential buff in the future. We needed there to be room for other big boy play styles, right? We have Mageblood, Ash of the Stars, and Crystallized Omniscience. I think it's cool and healthy that we have other potential chase uniques in the game. Now, we can absolutely argue about certain power levels and requirements and what they all mean, and looking in the context of what you used to be able to do with Headhunter, triple inspired learning, KB Deadeyes and 5-way carries and all that. I think it's important to like reflect of like the actual like top level. What does this mean for certain playstyles, and are they getting stale? Like previously, the game was basically, the overall economic farming game was basically, can you trade for a Headhunter within the first few days? And then once you have a Headhunter, you just do juicier and juicier stuff until you're just doing pure juice stuff. And then at the end game, it was basically 100% Delirious, T16, Triple Beyond, or 5-way carries in terms of like the super juice stuff. And, we did have Wave 30 Simulacrum that was added a little bit later. But besides that, actual end game challenging farming didn't have too much variety. So it's so subjective about the Headhunter thing. Like definitely the Headhunter stands are like, they're really missing it. They're missing that old, infinite power level. And, me, I was a casual Headhunter user where I would often own one, but I would just hold it in my inventory, and I would only put it on if I wanted to do juice content. But I never liked building around it. I like having like a comfort, like nice build. And once in a while I would dip my toes in the Headhunter playstyle, but it wasn't my favorite way to play the game. I think there's somewhere in the middle from where it is now. And GGG, right, said that they will be buffing it again. They do want to bring it back closer to its old power level. So you may want to invest in the Headhunter right now. If you're sitting on 40 exalts, there might, who knows? I'm not a financial advisor, even in Path of Exile. But yeah, you may want to invest in it, because if GGG buffs it and it gets even close to its old power level, the price may go back up. Now, regarding Crystallized Omniscience and Ashes the Stars, I think they are worth a lot at the current rarity level. So we also have to look at supply and demand though, right? A lot of people were putting out build guides, and including me, like I said in the Bane build guide, right? Like, hey, they said they're nerfing the drop rate. I don't know how much. This is not necessary, but if you can get an Ashes of the Stars, you should. The thing is, Ashes of the Stars fits into almost every single build. It is very, very nice. It can be essentially an end game amulet for like the average build. So it's just that good. 30 to 40x is probably pushing it, especially with being able to recombine really good amulets right now. So the interesting thing that you're balancing against here, right, is a build enabling unique for certain big boy builds, right? Like Phantasmal Cremation specifically, that is like a super juicing, I can do Wave 30 Simulacrum with my eyes closed type of build. The reason why it's so expensive is it has this duality of fitting almost every build in the game, being very, very good for scaling a lot of builds, and also enabling certain like big boy builds. It has this like, it has this everyman character, but also like a big boy build character. It's just interesting because for many of the builds that want to use it as like a comfort pick, like my Bane build, it's not worth 35 exalts or 40 for the Bane build, right? we can recombine an amulet that's just as good, if not better, basically. Crystallized Omniscience, I think, is worth, upwards of 30 to 40 exalts. It is just that good in terms of what it enables. If you played around it last league, and I said it over and over again in all my videos last league, it's either going to get nerfed or the rarity is going to get nerfed. It's just one of those items that you can slap it onto many different elemental builds. It's very, very easy to craft around, and it will just make you do insane amounts of damage. I am okay with it. It is such a build-defining, like big boy build type of item that it can be a chase item that enables you to put together something really impressive. I got very, very lucky and dropped the Crystallized Omniscience on my second Searing XR kill, and I immediately sold it, bought an Ashes for my build.
Disintegration. Cleansing.
Roar.
Annihilation.
Roar.
Improbable.
Oh, we call that a Poggies! But yeah, I mean, it is a little weird going from not chase unique, build enabling, but not chase unique, to hard chase unique. I think that's definitely an adjustment period. But I do think it is in that area of Headhunter. You know, once Headhunter gets buffed, you know, I think it'll cost a little bit more. But yeah, I think around 30 to 40 exalts, it might go up to 50 as the supply of exalts goes up. I think that that is okay. You know, we want more chase uniques. We want more things to strive for that enable very, very big builds. You know, as long as it's not like a 200 exalt, like, you know, Mage Blood is one of those things that's like, you know, refinancing my house and everything to try to get one of those things. That's like full chase unique. But Crystallized Omniscience, if it stays in the 50x range, that is the, hey, I can farm it up in a week, 2, 3 weeks, you know, if you're a more casual player, and just something to strive for to, you know, push yourself to the next level in the game. So, Sentinel League. If you saw my previous video where I talk about doing shrines and juicing everything with the Sentinels, I really enjoy it. Sentinel might be, in terms of like mapping, juicing your map content with a league mechanic that you can opt in or not. It might be my favorite actual mapping league of all time. It is a press your luck mechanic. Like, you know, you are pressing that button and you can just gather up a bunch of monsters, press it, Sentinel comes out, and then you just got absolute loot explosions. It has that perfect feel of, you know what? I want to press that donate XP button. Maybe this will get me killed. Maybe I'll get, you know, an Exalt or a couple Divines or something. Pressing a button, getting more loot. It strikes that perfect balance of player agency and increasing the challenge and getting loot commensurate with that challenge. My entire like juicing mapping setup is, you know, chisel, throw some sextants down, and I put domination on the map device because, you know, I'm a shrine fan, and that's it. You know, I'm not going for scarabs or anything. I am not like rolling for anything really big on my maps. Like, just really Elk can go on the map there. And especially with the Eldritch Altars and all that, you can push like very high difficulty, very high quant on your maps with very low investment. You know, we're talking 5 chaos investment per map, and we're getting really good returns. So in terms of that mechanic, I love it. In terms of breeding the Sentinels, I have been enjoying that. You know, I've been joking a lot on stream about, you know, it's time for breeding. We got our breeding juice going, you know, kind of leaning into what Chris said in the announcement. Yeah, so that I absolutely love. Breeding the Sentinels, I really, you know, I like putting them in their little playpen and seeing what pops out. A little mommy and daddy Sentinel. After that, however, we have the Recombinators. I've tried everything. Yeah, I know you get crafted. I'm just saying, like, do we get better odds maybe? I don't know, whatever. Recombinators literally don't work. That's 10. That is 10 failed staff Recombinators. Whew, we are talking about a big pile of sadness for me anyway. I have personally had the worst luck with Recombinators, possibly of anyone in Path of Exile at this point. So I've been trying to craft a staff that's, you know, an upgraded staff for my Cane of Unraveling, and I'm trying to combine +2 all spell skill gems and +3 chaos spell skill gems. I'm rolling 1 on each staff, and then I'm trying to combine them. I'm okay with hitting any combination of any other modifier. Like, that alone would be a nice upgrade for my build. I have failed 12 times trying to recombinate that. I've lost about 8 exalts trying to do that recombination. I could have just done fossil crafting and or even just pure harvest crafting, try to hit what I want and be happy. I'm trying to do the recombination, but having failed 12 times, like, you know, even if it's just a coin flip on whether it's going to choose that modifier, they're not in the same mod group, right? They should combine. It's been really rough. Like, to the point where yesterday morning, if I were not a Path of Exile content creator, I would have considered quitting the league. You know, and definitely, you know, sometimes bad luck just hits, but failing that same thing 12 times in a row, hopefully it's just bad luck outlier, was so bad that, you know, there's certain times when you get unlucky and it hurts really bad. That's been really rough. I've been enjoying the science part of it, and I've done like a lot of smaller recombinations. And then last night, I had people giving me incorrect information. So, you know, a little PSA for you guys here. You cannot put a fractured mod. I know you can get multiple fractured mods and you can get multiple essence mods. And you can do stuff like that. But you cannot put a fractured mod onto an influenced base. And I had people telling me that you could. So I was trying to get T1 Fractured Life onto a Hunter Stygian Vise. I tried that, 6 times last night? And I think that roughly ended up being like 4 or 5 exalts wasted because I had to buy a couple new Hunter bases when it didn't choose the right base. So that was a hard lesson to learn last night. And then when I finally watched the replay and I saw that it actually chose the Fractured Life, but then Fractured Life didn't go on the final result.
Pretty good. Yep. All right, which one are we looking at? Wait, did it not take it? Will it not take a It might not take that mod.
That was pretty interesting. I think they could maybe tweak the UI a little bit to make it clearer about what's going on. I know that GGG is all about, you know, discovery and all that type of stuff. And I like discovery, but give me the information so I know what's going on, so I can learn from what I'm watching, right? Instead of having to do like science without being able to gather too much information. You know, a little bit of a helping hand there would be pretty nice. This absolutely raises the ceiling for like super GG items. I have seen the crazy stuff that people have created and combined, and people are throwing mirrors upon mirrors at stuff, really making some new wacky items that, you know, are pushing what mirror tier means. You know, you're expected to invest for risk to get out those type of items. But the fact that I have failed my simple staff recombination, right? I'm just trying to pick one modifier from each. I have failed that 12 times in a row. It does feel really bad. And I think like statistically on a coin flip, there's something like a 6% chance or something that I could actually fail this many times in a row at this point. It's pretty bad. You know, hopefully that's just an outlier, and you know, someone has to be that 6%. So that's what I am there. So yeah, with that said, overall, I've kind of talked my own ear off here. I am very happy with this league. You know, the stuff that I failed on has been my own failure. That's me choosing to invest in stuff that was a low percentage chance to hit, I guess. But I'm going to keep going. I do want to make a nice staff there. So we're going to keep going on that. And then last up is, of course, the Atlas passes. More player agency, more choice. There isn't anything else to say about that. I think it's basically 10 out of 10. There's a couple weird things, right? With Stream of Consciousness doesn't allow you to use your Divine Vessels, but Orbs of Unmaking are basically free. You can buy them from Kirak for 2 regrets. So besides that, I think the Atlas tree is just an upgrade overall. I don't even know what else I would ask for that. Like, it's basically a 10 out of 10 at this point, in my opinion. Very happy with this league. I'm having fun with it. But since you watched to the end, maybe you are a loyal viewer that likes hanging out regardless. I will be working more to have bonus streams where we play other games on stream, and on the second channel that you may not know about, I will be posting videos from other games, and there will be crazy other fun content like vlogging, playing board games on a yacht in Miami next weekend, and fun other stuff like that, which, you know, definitely get subscribed if you want to see other things that are not just Path of Exile. And with all that said, I hope you are having fun. Make sure this game is not, you know, making you unhappy. If you are unhappy, please touch grass. I want to touch grass as well. I want to take back touch grass and make it a positive thing to tell someone to do, because it will make them happier. And we're just trying to enrich each other's lives and make sure that we're living our best lives. So yeah, hope you join me on the stream in a couple hours, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.